It seems like a lot of work. It's too hard. So what, I'm just not gonna do it anymore and that's it? I quit? It's over? I don't know if you guys have been around the block a bit or if you've paid any attention in life, but basically it's a long series of obstacles, struggles, failures, difficulties, stress, pain and suffering sometimes. And our options become very, very limited. I once worked for a company where they tried to have these little motivational sayings that they would pop up on your computer screen every day. So you'd be greeted with this little motivational little catchphrase at the beginning of your shift. So eventually, and I was a little bit different in those days, but eventually I just hung a little motivational blip that I made myself off of my ID badge. And the one that I created, that I wore for a while, and again, not very professional. I was very different in those days, but the quote is kind of interesting to still consider. And it said, "Success is the ability to face failure after failure without losing enthusiasm." Kind of catchy, right? But how real of an evaluation is that? You know, is that truly success? Because our options are so limited. There are so many times that I encounter things in life and I don't want to deal with any of it, but that's the reality in which we live. We have to deal with it if we're going to be alive. You know, if we're going to continue to exist, it's going to continue to exist and we're going to encounter it and it's going to be there in our lives. So our options are very limited. Personally, I'm not one to really whine and complain a bunch, but I will make observations and I'll add commentary to that. One thing I encounter a lot on this channel, my YouTube channel here, is people saying, wow, that looks like a lot of work. People say that a lot. And absolutely, a lot of life is just a lot of work. And often when people say something like that, I'll comment back, yeah, it was a lot of work to get out of bed this morning too. Like a lot of work, or something being a lot of work, cannot deter us. That can't be the straw that broke the camel's back. Oh, that's going to be a lot of work. I give up. I'm done. It's over. I quit. That can't be the way that we deal with things. Because no matter what, it's going to be a lot of work. Pretty much every single thing I do is a lot of work. So what trumps it? Is it the fact that you have goals and dreams and hopes and aspirations and something you're working towards as either yourself or as a member of your family? Is that going to trump the fact that it's a lot of work? Because it should. And if the fact that there's a lot of work looming down upon you, if that's going to be like, oh, well, me avoiding dealing with that is more important than blessing my family or taking care of my family or doing things in the present that are going to set me up for a better future. We left everything we knew behind to completely change our entire lifestyle, and it's a struggle. I'm more of a doer. My wife is more of a researcher, which means that she figures out a lot of good ways to do things before we do them, and I just do a lot of stuff and learn the hard way. Now, when we combine that, and we combine the fact that I really want to go ahead and do things, and her being a researcher, then it comes together amazingly, but that's not always the way life functions. It's just not always. She's not always researching the things that I want to accomplish, and you know, I'm not always doing the things that she's researching. So it doesn't always fit together that way. So am I really just evaluating life considering that there's too much to do, life is too hard, there's too much work to be done, and therefore I'm just going to give up and quit? No, actually, that's not what's happening. But that is what people periodically say, and that is what happens to a lot of people. I offer this up as encouragement for you guys because I face constant discouragement, yet my options are very limited. Now, of course, in the midst of anything, if you're not getting a big enough return on your investment, then quit investing. If you're okay with the return on your investment that you're getting, then continue to invest. And if you think that there's a certain return on your investment coming, then set a marker. You know, what would be ideal, what would be satisfactory, and in what period of time. And if in that period of time you don't reach where you want to be, then find something else to invest in. Absolutely. One good example is, my YouTube channel here. The YouTube channel was really a byproduct of some other things that I was doing online. I wanted to share some videos online elsewhere, so I created a YouTube channel. Eventually, this YouTube channel became monetized, and that was really cool because that was not my goal. Now that it is monetized, of course, I want to do a good job with it, and I face a lot of discouragement on that. A lot of people are only going to get about 10% of their viewers on average watching their videos, so we have over 17,000. If we were getting 1,700 views a video, that would be about 10%. Of course, we're below that. And even when I was at the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company Spring Planting Festival, ran into White House on the Hill. And I remember them, they remember me. But I got the comment, wow, you were doing YouTube even way before we were. Do you know how discouraging that was? Do you know how incredibly discouraging that was? To watch a channel just boom like that, and me to kind of sit in the kiddie pool, the shallow end of the pool, just struggling and doing stuff. And I'll tell you what, when people show up rather frequently sometimes and in the comment section, they're like, wow, you should have a lot more subs. That's kind of encouraging at first. And when somebody goes, wow, you put a lot of more effort into a lot of your stuff than a lot of the bigger channels, that kind of becomes discouraging. And then if more people just keep telling you, wow, your channel isn't really doing very good compared to where I think it should be, yeah, eventually it just becomes discouraging. But my options are limited. Number one, I really like you guys. You guys who are actually here through thick and thin, who enjoy the stuff. I try to provide something that's worthwhile for you. This one is more just encouragement, and it may not be that you're a YouTube creator. It may be for any other area of your life. You're gonna have a struggle. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be difficult, but guess what? So is getting out of bed in the morning. So is not hitting snooze and just getting up to your alarm. So is all sorts of other things you're gonna face in life. So you can overcome the struggles. You don't have to just admit defeat because something was hard. It's all hard. It's all difficult. I mean, even we like heading out to the lake fishing. Do you know how much stuff I gotta do to go take my family fishing? You know how many life jackets I need, how many kayaks I need, how many fishing poles I need, how much bait I need, and then when I get home, how many fish I gotta clean and stuff like that? That's not exactly easy. It's a lot of work to take my family fishing. But I would rather be with my family fishing and providing a bunch of food for the family that way than leaving my family to go earn some money somewhere else to come back and, buy food in town and then bring it home to them. I'd rather have the experience and the memories and stuff together. But that doesn't mean it's easy. That doesn't mean that every step of the process is fun. You ever tried teaching very small children to do things? It's not incredibly enjoyable. Okay? They're very little. Their mental skills and motor skills are not where an adult hopefully would be these days, who knows. But so it can be a painful process. But if we don't go through that and overcome that difficulty, just persevere through it, they're never going to rise to the level that they could, and we're never going to have the patience and the wisdom and the different things that we can learn from the situation of training little children. This one here is a good example too, the root cellar. Okay, I am working on it. It is a work in progress. I've got a bit to go. Later today, I might be digging the water line for this place. I want to get that done before I frame it in. Then I'm going to dig some footers. I'm contemplating, I was sitting there either as I was waking up this morning or going to bed last night. I'm not sure which. But I was really contemplating something that's going to make it a lot better for me as I continue. Putting a lot of mental work into this because I want it to be really good. But this one, there's been people who've actually unsubscribed to our channel because of this project. They said, wow, I was really excited to see how that works, but I'm kind of old already. It looks like I'll be dead before you get it finished. That's a lot of encouragement, isn't it? If they would have said, hey, I'm probably going to be dead in a year, if you could get that done in a year, that would have been more encouraging. But they said, no, I'm unsubscribing. I ain't got time for this. I probably won't be around to finish it, so I'm done watching it. That's fine. They're absolutely free to do so. But part of what I want to do is not just share our life and document it. And a lot of our memories I probably would have lost if we hadn't recorded them. It's kind of like looking through a photo album and then you get all those memories back because you have the photographic evidence of the event that occurred. But I want to, besides just documenting things, I want to inspire you guys. I want to share things with you. A lot of you guys comment and say, wow, I've learned so much from you, or I really appreciate, this thing that you shared, or various things. And sometimes, I don't even realize that's what's happening. I wouldn't really think that you'd be getting that much out of it. And sometimes even when I'm more just talking at the camera, I'm like, ooh, should I really do that? And often those videos will get a lot less views than maybe some activity where it shows other people in my family too. But those are the times that people are like, you know what, I really needed this. And I get more of those type of comments. So it's going to be a variety channel in a lot of ways. And I'm just going to continue to do what we're doing. For instance, I put a lot of hours into making, editing, uploading these videos, and kind of running the YouTube channel, and I'm not very good at it. I guarantee I'm not very good at it. If I was, I'd be researching keywords and making sure all sorts of sustainable, green, off-grid, not off-grid, so can't use that one. You know what I mean? But get all the buzzwords in there in every description or whatever people are doing. I don't know, people suggest stuff like that. I know I'm not that good at it. But I'll tell you what I do like is being able to do it and have you guys encourage, us along the way too. A lot of our life, we've got a whole playlist of subscriber recommended, Papa approved. Those are the parts of my life that become way better because as I'm doing something, you guys are watching and encouraging and suggesting. This smokehouse here is one of the examples of something that's a lot better because of you guys watching it and encouraging us. And this revolutionized a lot of our life. This makes everything so much better. I heated it up a bit ago. Fired up the whole thing just for 2 venison back straps I had in the freezer. They were amazing, and all it cost me was a couple of these hickory logs that I had cut to length. That's all it cost me because everything else was ready to go. But y'all helped with that. And it's really awesome too. I know a guy who doesn't live that far from here, but I went over to his house and I was there years ago, but as I look at it now, he's got a building built with 3B oak lumber from the same place I get this. And I'm like, interesting. He's got a whole garden laid out with rock raised beds. And I'm looking at that going, wow. And he's sitting there like, well, yeah, the things that you're doing makes so much sense, and I'm so glad you're sharing them. So, for instance, I brought up financially is one way that you can view things. Financially, does my YouTube channel make sense? Not at the moment at all. My hourly wage would be extremely pathetic. I understand that. But the interaction and encouragement that I get, the way things get better because of you guys, and then to see how it affects other people's lives. You should see some of the videos that I've seen of people growing noodle beans and snake gourds. Absolutely incredible. I know Grafted Branch Homestead, they're doing some of that stuff, and it's really cool to see. I sit there and go, wow, look at that. That's because they got seeds from us. They saw our videos and were like, hey, this looks pretty cool. Let's try it for our family. Let's see how it works. And boom, next thing you know, they've got a new favorite themselves. Sitting there watching Farmer G out in California. I would like to meet that guy one day. Will I ever? Probably not. Okay? But we can have an online interaction that can overflow into our real life. I remember once he said, wow, I've only got 3 children. How do you do it? You make it look so easy with so many more. And I go, well, I edited it. It's not always that easy. It's a struggle too. It's difficult too. But he's growing all sorts of stuff, a couple different things at least, that originally he sourced seeds from us. And I think that's really cool. I think that's awesome to see how some of this stuff does in other parts of the country. And to know that those are like the babies and grandbabies of ones that were raised here. So in the midst of everything, what do we have? We have incredible discouragement and we have incredible encouragement. Sometimes one will outweigh the other. Sometimes you'll be getting a whole lot more discouragement. Those are the times we got to rise above and persevere. And the times when things are going really great are times that we do need to watch out and don't get too comfortable with it, because just like that, the whole thing could change. I spent a while gone recently. I went on quite a work trip for quite a few days in a row. I spent quite a time gone from my family. Finally came back, and just some of the jet lag from how hard I was working. I mean, there's times we're going to bed at like 2:30 in the morning after finally like washing all the insulation and stuff off of us, fiberglass, and waking up at 6 in the morning and getting back at it. There's only so many days you can do that in a row until you're like, whoa, I need to really, really shut down, you know? And even like right now, being back home with the family, I'm taking a moment while the kids are working on some stuff to do this video, but Mama had an appointment in town, so she took off with one of the children earlier. So I'm the one at home running some homeschool stuff, taking care of meals, making sure dishes stay done and rooms stay clean and things like that. So it's not like this is the only focus of my life. It's not like I'm single or we're just a married couple or a married couple whose, you know, kids are gone all day in public school or something like that. It's a much different situation for us. And I appreciate all the encouragement that y'all give us. In the face of constantly realizing everything's a lot of work, there's a lot of discouragement out there, that can't be the only focus of life. And if we don't pause for a moment to realize all the good, then we will lose hope and we will discourage. We will get discouraged and give up and we'll quit, whatever it is. It may not be this. For me, this is one of the things that I appreciate having encouragement in, because it's incredibly discouraging sometimes. That's fine. That's fine. Wasn't even one of my goals originally. But I wanted to offer this up and get real with you guys for a moment. Just share some of my vulnerability, share some of the struggles, you know, that we have. It is what it is. And hopefully encourage you guys in the process. If I can be any encouragement to you, then it's going to be worth it for me. In the world of discouragement, part of our house is actually falling apart right now. That sounds worse than it actually is, but that means I've got a project that I'm working on right now to fix that issue before I can even really progress with the root cellar. But if part of the root cellar stuff comes through, like the availability for me to use a small tractor with a backhoe attachment to dig my water line, then that's going to get thrown in there anyway, while this other job, this other issue waits a little bit longer to get resolved. Just trying to balance everything here. And I will let you guys probably know in the next video what our issue is and how we're gonna solve it, because I think it can be solved pretty easily. I think it can be solved pretty awesomely. It's gonna take some creativity, it's gonna take some free sources, and it's gonna take, guess what? A lot of work. A lot of work for fun. You guys can chime in on that video when it comes out and say, whoa, it looks like it's gonna be a lot of work. Because you know what? Even if 40 of you guys told that to us, I wouldn't be able to give up. We have too limited of options. We can't just give up. So that said, I got work to do. I'll see you next time. Be encouraged. Papa out.